What's up, guys? Welcome back to Biopilot Arms. Today I have an excerpt from my After Work podcast. If you would like to go and see that, go ahead over to Biopilot News and you can see the full podcast there. Otherwise, enjoy the video. Everybody, Gavin Newsom, our favorite, governor, has proposed a 28th Amendment to basically eviscerate the Second Amendment. He has proposed a 28th Amendment that basically puts and enshrines into law, into our founding document, gun restrictions. He says that it won't affect the Second Amendment, but the whole purpose of this 28th Amendment is to limit the Second Amendment. So, right out of the gate, he's already lying. So, we already knew he was going to be lying, but, he's obviously lying. So, this guy is just straight up, I can't believe anything that he says. You know what, let's just watch the interview of this guy real quick. And I might interject a few times, but let's watch this insane guy talk about this.
Amendment, and why now?
Well, why now is pretty self-evident that a lot of the laws we've passed are being rolled back by the federal courts.
To be clear, you're not calling for the abolition of the Second Amendment.
No, this is an existential crisis that we're experiencing every single day.
Saying he's fed up with Congress's inability to act, California Governor Gavin Newsom is proposing something never done before on gun control, having states work together to pass a U.S. constitutional amendment on guns that would implement 4 measures nationwide. Raise the minimum age for buying a firearm to 21. Mandate universal background checks. Require a reasonable waiting period for gun purchases, and ban the sale of assault rifles to civilians. To achieve this...
Okay, so that first point, the 21-year-old being 21 in order to purchase a firearm. First of all, I'm sorry, but no. If I can enter into contracts, I can join the military, I should be able to own a gun. I just find it funny that Gavin Newsom thinks that children under the age of 18 and at 18, but specifically under the age of 18, can cut their genitals off and transition into another gender without, any long-lasting side effects on them. And he thinks that they can consent to that, but an 18-year-old can't make the mental decision to buy a gun. That just doesn't make sense to me. But more so the fact that if you are an adult, you're an adult. You should be able to do all of the things that adults can do. In my opinion, everything should be at 18. Guns, alcohol, tobacco, all of it, 18. If you're an adult and you can join the military and you can enter into contracts and you are legally held responsible for any criminal actions that you do at 18, then everything should be at 18. Period, blanket statement, done. So that's the first part. Then we move on to the stupid idea of universal background checks. We already have background checks, okay? The universal background checks thing, all that is instead of being able to do personal private sales, then you would have to have a background check or go through a gun store. I don't even think California has private sales. So why is that a big deal for him? It's because states like here in Texas, I can sell a gun to anyone I want as long as I have no reason to believe that they're a prohibited possessor. So if I know someone's a felon, I can't sell them a gun, obviously, because that's illegal, and that's also a stupid thing to do. But let's say I go up to someone and I say, hey, I'm selling you this gun, and I never ask any questions, but I don't think anything of this person. Selling them the gun is legal. Even if they are a felon, technically, if I don't know about it and I have no reason to believe so, technically it's legal. Now, if you're a responsible gun owner, you won't do a private sale without some assurance that they're not. Personally, I won't sell a gun to anybody who doesn't have a concealed carry permit. Now, I know that we are a concealed carry state, and so a lot of people won't have one, but I personally will not sell to anybody who, unless it's like family or a friend. A stranger, you need a concealed carry permit, or at least have had one that you still have on you. That's it. Now, what was the third one? Oh, before we move on to the third one, the whole point to the universal background checks is because they want to create a national registry, because the only way for the universal background check thing to work is to have a registry, because otherwise you don't know who sold what, who sent what, where, whatever. So it's a precursor. They'll put the universal in place, and then they'll say, well, it's not working because we don't have a registry, and then they'll go for a registry. What was it was reasonable. So the reasonable waiting period. That's stupid. That's really stupid. Because here's the thing: if I can pass a background check already, why should I have to wait to get the firearm? I've already passed the background check, meaning there's nothing on my background that should indicate that I am, a danger or anything. Why am I having to wait? Number one. Number two, it creates danger for those who need the gun for an immediate reason. So, for instance, hypothetically, let's say you gotta wait for this gun, and you're a female, and you have a crazy ex-stalker boyfriend who is threatening to kill you. And you want to go get this gun because the danger is immediate. You pass the background check, but even though you pass the background check, there's a waiting period. I believe that they want the waiting period to be similar to other states, in that you have to wait like almost a month, like 28 days or something like that. Crazy. You have to wait a whole month while this guy is threatening to kill you. Your ex-boyfriend or whatever is threatening to kill you. You have to wait a whole month to get a gun. And I believe in one instance that actually resulted in the death of one young lady, because she had to wait, and a couple days before she would have been approved for it, he killed her because she couldn't get the gun. So no, thank you. The waiting periods can kill people. And then there was the ban the sale of assault rifles to civilians. I'm sorry. First of all, assault rifles are already heavily regulated to the point where normal people really can't get one. Assault rifles are firearms that can be full auto or burst fire. So machine guns, full autos, all that stuff. They are regulated by the NFA, for those of you who don't know. They're regulated by the NFA. You have to pay a $200 tax stamp to get them. But here's the kicker. They are so prohibitively expensive that it is effectively a assault rifle ban that we have in the United States. Because you can't get one for less than 10 grand for like a simple Mac 10 or an Uzi. It's like 10 or 12 grand. You want a really good full auto, like Armalite or, M16 type AR that goes full auto, you're looking at 30 grand. You want a belt-fed 249, 120 grand for one gun. Plus the $200 tax stamp, plus whatever the waiting period is for the paperwork that you have to do, plus the fact that even if you do get it, you'd have to file paperwork anytime you left state with the object. Look, in 1986 they said, okay, you can't manufacture any new full autos for transference, which basically threw the price up to the roof. It's effectively a gun ban. So when they say assault rifles, what they really mean is assault weapons, which is a made-up term, and they're just trying to equate assault rifles, which are already effectively banned in the United States. They are trying to equate that to all semi-auto AR-15 AK platforms, because they want to ban all rifles, essentially. So even if they even if they did get this passed somehow, it wouldn't affect assault. It would affect assault rifles in that it would basically strengthen the NFA to the point where you couldn't have a full auto at all. But it wouldn't actually do anything, and this is the part that it's funny because, like, depending on how they worded in the amendment, if they said assault rifles, it wouldn't actually ban AR-15s or any of that stuff. It would just ban what's already essentially banned. They would have to actually, like, classify and write out everything. But this is an amendment that I don't think is going to get passed because we currently have, I think it's 26 states that are constitutional carry. So the chances that 2/3 of the states in the United States actually get on board with this is pretty much a no. But let's just say it did happen. It would fundamentally destroy the United States. And not just because it would be rewriting our history, it would be going completely against what the founding fathers had in mind, but it would straight up start a civil war because this is a hill to die on. This is something that will not be going over well. If you put this in, no. The amount of people in the United States that own these type of guns that would not tolerate this. I mean, I feel like Gavin Newsom is just trying to start a civil war. Like, that's what I feel like he's trying to do. Again, they go on to say later in this video that basically that this has never happened before. No state proposed amendment has ever been passed. So, anyway, so let's continue on and hear what he has to say about. You know what? We don't even need to. We don't even need to. This is all the information you really need because he just goes on to quote dumb statistics that are cherry picked, and you don't need to know anything else about this other than Gavin Newsom is trying to ruin the Second Amendment. He says that it wouldn't affect the Second Amendment, but it fundamentally would. I mean, he's saying it leaves the Second Amendment intact, except for the parts where it cherry picks and says that you can't do certain things that the Second Amendment explicitly says. Because here's the thing. The Second Amendment is the only amendment that explicitly says at the bottom, shall not be infringed. All of the other amendments in the Bill of Rights are what's the word I'm looking for? They're understood to not be infringed, right? Like, you can't infringe on my rights on any of them. But the Second Amendment, they went out of their way to write it and state it basically again. Like, all the other ones don't say that. They're just implied. This one specifically, exclusively says, shall not be infringed. It's the only one. And yet, he wants to propose an amendment that would absolutely infringe. We already have laws that infringe. Like, the entire NFA should be thrown out the freaking window. But then again, what do you expect from politicians who have so much gun control in their own states that believe that there is no slippery slope, even though we can see it happening in Canada? Because Justin Trudeau said, "Oh, well, we'll never get rid of guns," and then he went on to ban anything that looked like an AR. Then he banned handguns, and now he's coming after hunting rifles. And you want to tell me that's not a slippery slope? Bullshit. And that stuff's happening here too. I mean, just look at the pistol brace. I mean, that's not even a law. That's a rule that the ATF is deciding that they, want to try and sneak under the radar, even though everyone freaking knows about it. It's a big deal. But you know what? Like I said, this has a very low chance of going anywhere. But if it does, guys, this is one of those things that it's the hill to die on. You would have to make the biggest stink about it. And honestly, I would say make a stink about it now. Start saying stuff now. Because the bigger and more opposition that there is to it, the less likely it is to move forward. Because here's the thing about freaking gun owners and Republicans in general. but primarily gun owners, we don't tend to do anything until it's already in motion, until it's already going. That's when we go, oh, well, let's file a lawsuit, this, that, whatever. Like, we don't write our representatives until the rule is already in effect or just before the rule goes into, like, we need to do stuff well before any of this stuff takes place. So, write to Gavin Newsom. If you live in California, tell him no. If you don't live in California, speak out about it. Say no. Tell your state that they are not to agree with or propose a similar type amendment. Make sure that your reps know. Make sure that your state knows. Just get the word out. I know I've seen a ton of videos about this already, so, it is, all over the place. Everybody's, like, freaking out about it. We should keep up that momentum. What we have with the pistol brace thing, all of the resources we're tossing into that, same thing. Every single time. Every single time. We need to be on top of it. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys for watching. I know that for those of you who are watching the After Work podcast, this was a very gun-centered type episode. But, I think it's important. Anyway, guys, I appreciate all of you guys. Drop a comment down below. Hit that like and subscribe button and notification bell so that way you get notified anytime I post a new video. And you can watch it immediately. Because let's face it, a lot of this stuff happened during the week, and I'm kind of behind the ball on the news. At least when it comes to posting videos about it. Anyway, guys, I appreciate all of you guys, and I will see you next week.